All right, so today we're going to dive into something pretty fascinating. It's all about community and how it can actually like supercharge your career and even your personal well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was looking at the stuff you sent over, some really interesting articles and YouTube transcripts from Forbes, Rutherford, and RutherfordINTEL. And they really get into how powerful these connections can be, for your career and your health.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack in this deep dive. I mean, Rutherford Intel has all these different models of community, and we're going to break them all down and try to help you figure out which approach might actually work best for you and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. And, one thing that jumps out right away is how much they stress self-awareness. Like they use assessments a lot to help people understand themselves better.
Right. So it's like that saying, know thyself. It's like the foundation for everything else.
Exactly. And once you have that self-knowledge, then you can connect with others in a really intentional way. And that's when the magic happens. That's when you start seeing real growth.
It's so much more than just like networking or collecting LinkedIn contacts.
Right. It's about building relationships that actually help you move forward in your life and career. And it's interesting. They work with such a diverse range of people, from aspiring leaders to HR managers to people looking for new jobs to board members, even top executives.
Yeah, it seems like no matter where you are in your career, those connections can make a real difference.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the big advantages of being part of these communities.
Yeah, like what are the big takeaways here?
Well, first off, you have networking. I mean, these communities are like natural hubs for meeting people. Peers, mentors, collaborators.
Like people who get what you're going through because they're in the same boat.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there's the knowledge sharing aspect,
Right.
where you're tapping into this collective pool of experience and expertise. You get insights into industry trends, best practices, things you might not have even thought of on your own.
It's like crowdsourcing wisdom from people who are actually in the trenches.
Yeah. And that can be super valuable. And then there's the visibility factor. When you're active in a community, you're putting yourself out there, you're becoming more known in your field.
Which can lead to all sorts of unexpected opportunities down the line.
For sure. And then there's the problem-solving aspect. Working with others can help you tackle challenges in ways you couldn't do alone.
Yeah, it's like having a built-in sounding board of people who understand your world.
Exactly. And finally, there's the motivational aspect. Being part of a community can give you this sense of belonging, a shared purpose that keeps you going.
It's like having a cheerleading squad for your career and your life.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some of the big reasons why you might want to consider joining a community.
Okay, so now let's dig into the different community models Rutherford Intel offers. And the first one is called Collective Wisdom Communities. And what's really cool is that access is included for a whole year with their assessment.
Yeah. So these communities are based on personality types.
Yeah.
They have this framework with 4 dominant personality quadrants: productive, interpersonal, intellectual, and leadership.
So you basically join a group of people who have a similar approach to work and problem solving.
Right. And the idea is that you can collaborate really effectively with people who have complementary strengths.
Yeah.
Because even though you share a similar fundamental perspective, you're probably going to excel in different areas.
So it's like everyone brings something unique to the table.
Exactly. And it creates this environment of shared understanding and support where people just get you and your work style.
That's really cool. And so this is like the entry point to their community offerings. You take the assessment for $99.99 and you get access to these collective wisdom communities for the first year.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's the first level. And then they have Rutherford Intel communities, which require a subscription. So how are these different from the personality-based groups?
So these communities are more focused on specific job roles. They have 19 different channels, each catering to a particular specialization.
Wow, 19. That's a lot. Can you give us some examples?
Yeah, so they mentioned communities for senior investment professionals like chief investment officers or directors of global investment. They also have communities for people in think tanks, the diplomatic service, the military intelligence, like a really wide range of fields.
So instead of shared personality, it's shared profession.
Exactly. The idea is to connect people who are facing the same challenges and dealing with the same industry dynamics, so you can really learn from each other.
And support each other.
Exactly. And it's all about crowdsourcing knowledge, expertise, and maybe even finding new opportunities within those specific fields.
And for these, you pay a monthly, quarterly, or annual subscription fee.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so then there's TalentNet, and this sounds like a much more exclusive platform.
Yeah, this one is invitation only.
Yeah.
And it's for top professionals.
Yeah.
People who scored really high on the Rutherford Intel assessment. Fractional executives, independent consultants, lawyers, turnaround experts, that kind of thing.
So it's like the all-star team.
Right. And for members, it's a way to showcase their profile to potential employers
Yeah.
and explore job opportunities, especially in that hidden job market,
Yeah.
those jobs that aren't publicly advertised.
And it sounds like it's a great resource for companies looking for top talent, too.
Yeah. On the corporate side, it's like a members-only job board with tools for managing their talent pipeline. They even integrate with LinkedIn Recruiter.
So recruiters can easily find these highly qualified candidates.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that for the individual members, they charge a flat annual or quarterly fee. They don't take a percentage of any contract value.
That's a different model for sure. Okay, so the last community we're going to talk about is the work-life health and wellness community, and this one's clearly focused on a different aspect of professional life.
Yeah, this is all about taking a holistic approach to well-being. It starts with physical health, but it's really about fostering those long-term connections that support your overall well-being.
So it's recognizing that your physical and mental health are connected to your professional success.
Absolutely. And it's about surrounding yourself with people who share your values and aspirations when it comes to health and well-being. Whether it's fitness, mental resilience, healthy relationships, whatever it is, you have this community to support you.
And how does it work in terms of structure and access?
So it's a subscription model. You pay quarterly or annually, and that covers any value-added services they provide, like stuff from wellness experts or clinicians. They also do personality-based pairing with a buddy for mutual support. So you have someone to keep you accountable.
It's like having a workout buddy, but for your whole life.
Yeah, pretty much. And these communities are international, too, and they have community managers and event managers to keep things running smoothly.
So it's a pretty structured environment for building healthy habits and finding support. All right, so those are the 4 main community models. And then there are also some key principles that seem to run through all of RutherfordINTEL's community initiatives. And the YouTube transcripts highlighted these really well.
Yeah, so one of the big ones is sharing experiences. The idea is that everyone's journey has valuable lessons to offer.
It's about learning from each other's successes and failures.
Exactly. And then there's cheerleading encouragement, celebrating each other's wins, big and small, and providing support when things get tough.
It's about creating that positive and supportive environment.
Right. And then there's holding to account, which isn't about being judgmental, but it's about helping each other stay focused on our goals.
Yeah. Sometimes we all need that little push.
Absolutely. And then they talk about friendly competition as a way to motivate people and drive self-improvement.
A little healthy rivalry can be a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. And finally, they highlight thought leadership. The founder, Forbes Rutherford, actually hosts communities for high-potential individuals in certain fields.
Yeah, they mentioned think tanks, economic consulting, investment strategy, private equity M&A, that kind of thing.
Right, and he specifically leads discussions on 2 main channels, one on geopolitical and economic matters, and the other on investments and investment strategy.
It's almost like a seeking alpha type of thing,
Yeah.
but they were careful to point out that these are just opinions, not formal advice.
Exactly.
Okay, there was one more concept I wanted to touch on. It's called 3 degrees of influence.
Yeah, this is really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's basically saying that in these communities, you're not just 6 degrees away from anyone. You're more like 3 degrees away from top professionals in your field who share your interests and your personality type.
So you're able to make these really targeted connections with people who can really help you move forward.
Exactly. It's about the quality of the connections, not just the quantity.
So as we wrap up here, what would you say is the big takeaway from all of this?
Well, I think the main message is that RutherfordINTEL has created this really diverse ecosystem of communities. There's something for everyone, no matter your career stage, your personality, your interests.
Right, and it all comes down to finding the community or maybe even multiple communities that align with your goals and aspirations.
Exactly. It's about finding your tribe, the people who understand you and can support you on your journey.
And who can help you unlock your full potential.
Right.
So for all of you listening out there, think about what kind of community might be the missing piece in your life. What kind of connections could help you reach that next level? What could help you achieve those big goals?
It's worth taking the time to figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely, because the right community can make all the difference. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll see you next time.